Yeah, it feels different. Yeah, help is like when you need a help, when you need assistance, but support is like encouragement or something that will push you, motivates you to do something. Okay, the last one, good and nice.
Okay, I'll try. Can I?
Yes, please.
Okay. Before I got to Jakarta, a friend of mine told me to attend the Britzone class once. So I said, okay, all right, it's nice idea. That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Anybody else?
I
Raise
think
your
it's enough.
hand.
Okay. Should we move on to the next activity, maybe? Or is there any of you who still wants to share your sentence?
Can I make a sentence?
Okay.
Okay. It's the second one. It's good and nice.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Starting from good, I think Anniza is a good teacher. Yes.
Thank you.
And nice. Today is a nice day.
Today is a nice day. That's right. Okay, thank you very much. See, I think most of you is already familiar with how to use them differently, right? It's a nice day. It's a good day. It's kind of have a different sense. It both are correct words, correct sentences, but kind of use them in a different situation. Nice day. We're talking about weather, maybe. We're talking about the situation we're going through in that day. But when you say it's a good day, kind of talking like something that you get that day, something that you earn, or something surprising on that day. Okay, so one of the ways to understand words instead of just translating is it will also help when you learn about phrases and sentences. So we cannot just rely on single words because you don't really know how to put them. Sometimes you don't really know how to put them in a sentence, in a context, or when or in what situation. But when you learn phrases and sentences, then you will know how to use them. You will see examples of how to use them. For instance, like this word, this sentence, this is phrases, I think. Tidak apa-apa and it's okay. Do they have the same message? Do you say these two phrases in the same situation? Or it's almost kind of representing the same message, right? When you say tidak apa-apa, it's kind of the same feeling like when you say it's okay, but is it's okay the translation of tidak apa-apa? I don't think so. Now, what is the translation of tidak apa-apa? As you might have been familiar with, yeah. So this is the importance of learning phrases because you don't really find them exactly the same word or the exact translation of it, but they represent the same message. Yeah. And also this one, hati-hati ya. And then you say, be careful. You kind of have the same feeling, or there's the same thing that you want to express in these phrases, right? But it's not, be careful is not the translation of hati-hati ya. This is just a simple example of how you understand the message and how it is represented in phrases. And then you can also learn it from longer sentences or longer, I don't know, maybe like idioms or stuff. What do they represent? Doesn't always the same with the translation. Okay, now we're going to have the FGD session. In this session, I think I should brief you with the instruction first before we divide the group. Yeah, what do you think, our friends from Britzone?
Sure.
Should I
Please.
explain first?
Okay.
Okay.
Please
I'm going
divide
to
the
give
group.
you a
Host.
scene. I'm going to give you a very simple scene that is from everyday life. Maybe you have been through this situation before. It's in Bahasa Indonesia. And the challenge is for you to retell the story of this scene in English. But you can use different words. You don't have to really translate each word from the situation. You can use your own word that tastes the same as this situation. So I'm going to show you the scene. Again, I'm not trying to be disrespectful to you single people out there. This is from a relationship dialogue, I think. Maybe some of you once been in this situation. So we are going to retell this story in English. So you don't really have to translate each word, but then you have to really retell the story from the scene. Okay, maybe I will give you like half a minute to see the scene to make sure you remember what to say, the dialogue, and then we can split into groups and share your own retell story. Retell it. Any of you been in this situation? Maybe your girlfriend or your boyfriend? Okay, remember the scene. Now we can split maybe into groups. How are we going to do that?
Okay, host, please divide us into rooms. Open up.
You in the group.
Danny, you there? Danny?
Yeah.
Okay, I will close this screen. Then we can move into group discussion.
Danny, you can start to split the group.
Open progress, in progress.
What is it?
In progress, Santo.
All right.
Santo, I think you can help me to break the room because I think I just did the first room.
If I become the host, I will not be able to assist you to become one of the facilitators then. You see?
Anniza, I think while we're waiting for the room to be break, there is a question from Vidya Haris.
Okay, please.
What is the different roadway and street?
Nah, what is the difference between roadway and street? Okay. Uh, well, you can see if you find the sentences that use them, then you can finally see the differences. But I personally think that road is like a very long and more in distance. So when you go to from other city to another city, then you go through that road. But when you talk about street, it's like smaller version of road. It's in the city. It's like more of address. Like street is like when you say someone's address, and way is like direction. Feels like direction. This way, that way. You go this way and then that way and then that. That's why way is also sometimes defined as cara. Yeah, because it's like direction on where to go, but road is like a broader and further distant of street, whereas street is like more uh, like in a city or in a certain area. That's what I think. Maybe you can also find other context using those words, then we can find how does it used in sentence. There's actually a lot of those kind of words, yeah, that has very similar meaning, and we just don't know when to use them. There's also path, which also means jalan, but originally path is like for like a small trace of street that you can find in the village or in the forest. That's the true meaning of path. But people tend to use them uh, now as also sometimes it's almost meaning it's the meaning is almost like street, but originally it comes from the village and other area outside the city. There's a lot of uh, similar words.
Okay, Kaniza, thank you.
Mhm.
Is there any question, guys? You may unmute your microphone to ask directly to Kaniza.
By the way, how many groups are we making for this session?
7 group.
Oh, 7 groups.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think the host is in trouble now.
Okay.
His connection is unstable, so maybe I will open for question and answer.
Okay, how about we make this group one group? Then we don't really have to divide them into
Oh, yeah, good
more.
idea, Kak. So we practice by voluntary.
Boleh.
Like
I will show you the
we
scene
did-
again to
Okay.
help you maybe if you forget. So this is the scene that we're trying to retell in English. This is one of the activity that I do often in my class when we talk about a story or we watch a short video and then I'm asking them to retell using their own words. It doesn't have to be exactly the same, but as long as you know how those words represent what you want to say. So it doesn't have to be translated. Any of you already know your scene or want to share with us what does the dialogue might sound in English? Any
Okay.
volunteer?
Oh,
Yeah.
Sophie, you wanna try?
Yep. I wanna try.
Okay,
Okay.
Selviana.
Yeah. Uh, the first, the man say, "I'm so sorry," and then the woman, "Don't talk about it. I don't want to hear you anymore." But
Okay.
why? You always do that. You've never changed. Yeah.
Hmm. You never change. It almost sounds like personal experience, yeah? I hope it's
No.
not. Okay. Anyone else?
Okay, for the next one is Sophie. Sophie, want to try? Okay, you can unmute your microphone.
Can I see the dialogue again?
Okay.
I'm sorry. I don't want to talk about it. Oh, why? Because you're never changing.
You never change. Okay. Anybody else?
Can I try?
Please.
Okay. Can you please accept my apologize? And then the
Okay.
girl said, I don't want to talk about it. But why? And then you just keep repeating your mistake all over again.
Oh, okay. You're repeating your mistake. You never change.
Yeah.
Those are two different sentences, but they actually deliver the same meaning, right? Like you keep doing that or something like that. Anybody else want to try? Maybe you have another sentence to represent the same message.
Come on, guys.
Can I?
Okay, Siska Rahmiati. I think you raise your hand, your virtual hand. You can start, Siska. Siska, can you hear me? Okay. Hi.
Maybe can I?
Okay, Tra.
Okay.
You can try.
Okay. Let me do this in English. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry. And then the girl will be like, why? Like that.
That's very cool.
Expressive.
It's very nice.
Is it realistic?
Is it your experience?
Could
Yes.
be.
Are you the girl or the boy in that experience?
boys, surely
Oh,
the
okay,
boys.
okay.
But the girls is not
So
around.
you're the one who keeps doing the same mistake.
Uh, uh, not really.
Not really, of course. Okay, that's nice. Anybody else?
Okay, Siska Rahmiati, you can unmute your microphone and you can start. Okay, where are you? Okay, maybe you can start with your Haris. You can try.
I apologize for what happened yesterday. And the girl answered, I'm not listening. And the man replied, let me explain it. And then you are always break your promise.
Oh, okay. That's a totally different sentences, right? Let me explain what happened yesterday. Yeah, it's like it represent the same message. Still feel the same, right? Those sentences still feel the same. That's very nice. Thank you. Anybody else, or do we still have other volunteer or not? It is actually one proof that you can retell these sentences in your own word in English. So it doesn't really have to be translation, but it all of your sentences sounds the same, feels the same. It's like delivering the same message. The context is still the same. It's not changing. You just change the word based on your own taste. That's how you use your words. Okay, it's are we still having another discussion in other groups? Or should we rejoin the main group?
I think it is
How
already
did-
in the main room.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is everybody back or are we still waiting?
I think we all have.
Yes, yeah. Okay, would you continue, Miss Niza?
Okay, we'll continue. So let's continue. We did this, and this is my version of retelling the story. Can you please forgive me? I think some of you already said the sentences exactly the same like mine.
Yeah,
I
already.
don't want to talk about it, but why? Because you keep doing the same mistake. Or some of you in our group said because you don't change. You keep doing the same thing. It's almost a whole different sentence, but they still represent the same message. You don't have to translate each word of this, but you can use your own words to represent the same meaning. And that's what we need to practice to make the language our automatic media when we speak. So you can directly uh, choose your own words to represent your message. Okay, this is the illustration that it's not necessarily translation. They're all different, not by word, but they deliver the same message. So every sentence, the important thing is not the translation, but how does it represent the message? Can it deliver your message? So when you're choosing word, make sure that okay, this is what I want to say, and does this word really represent it, or should I choose another word? Or you can refer to other sources like thesaurus or other, if you find an online dictionary, they have choices of words that that has similar meaning, and you can choose which one fits your message. So how do we learn to taste the word? I'm saying tasting because if you only know the meaning, it's not enough. You have to know how it tastes in a sentence. First, learn phrases instead of single words. We've talked about this before. So when you watch movies or when you read books or when you read articles, find phrases like it's okay or be careful or other phrases that, and sometimes they represent one meaning. So then you can understand that not all translation represent only one meaning, but when a group of words can also represent one meaning. And then find vocabularies versus look for vocabularies. Now, find and look for is also almost have the same meaning, but it's not. What I mean is when you find vocabularies, you kind of uh, you kind of enrich yourself with vocabularies, and then you find out the meaning, and then you find out how to use them. When you look for vocabularies, you have this idea, and then you are searching for, okay, what's the word for this vocabulary? It will always make you feel that you are lack of vocabulary. So when you read a lot of book, when you read, when you watch a lot of movies, and just not just watching the movie, but paying attention to how they speak, what they say, even though maybe you don't really know the meaning yet at that moment, but you are filling your mind with vocabularies that maybe someday you can refer to and use them when you're speaking. So that's what I mean by finding instead of looking for. Finding is like uh, making a stock of vocabularies in your mind, and then you can find the context, and then you can find the meaning. Other than you have something to say, and then you open the dictionary and then you search for stuff, for words. And then don't stop at translation. Find context. This is what we've been doing actually. Like the ones that I show you about hands, unless and instead of. If I only look at the translation, it's not enough because I don't know how to use them. I also find this experience when I try to understand how to use despite and in spite of, words like that, and then we have to know when to use them. Therefore, and then there's also the row and all other many words that you don't really know how to use them, then you have to find sentences that has that word. Now, this is one of the things that I use a lot in finding sentences. Let me show you. This is a website, not just for, it's not just a dictionary, but it also gives you sentences. So you can see examples of how to use them here. For example, this is, I was looking for the word regulate. I know the meaning, but how to use them. They have a list of sentences that you can see on how the word is used. And then you can have more experience by reading these sentences on how do they use the word regulate. Yeah, they have definition, and then they also have synonyms. This is one of my favorite websites instead of just, like translation or dictionary. And then this is the activity for practicing. Retell, like we did with a scene. You can see a short video and then discuss it with someone. Retell your video. Use your own words. It is important to practice to use your own words. So when you have vocabularies in your mind, you have to use it. You have to really put them into sentences. So it will be automatic media for you the next time you are trying to saying something. And then there's also books and movies, of course, and compare sentences like we did. You can also go to that your dictionary.com and then see different sentences and see how each word is used in them. Okay, so do we have questions? We already have some questions before in our FGD. Or maybe if we don't really have time, we can move on to our reflection. It's already more than 1 hour.
Yeah, it's okay, Miss Niza. Okay,
Okay.
guys. If you want to ask something, please raise your hand. But remember, one person, one question.
I
Okay,
will
please
try my
welcome.
best to answer.
Just raise hand in participants.
Okay, Kak, Kak Narendra, question
Oh
to
yeah,
Kak Niza.
movie, go on.
Okay, thank you, Kak Narendra. Kak Niza, sometimes I've got, some or several vocabulary in my mind, but when someone asks a question like just ask about to to translate, sometimes my mind can replace those words easily, like fast enough, and I think I don't know whether I'm quite slow. I don't know, but I've been trying this kind of translation things, and I found myself a little bit slow in in retracing those words. But actually, there are those words in my mind. I know what the meaning is, how to use it, and what is the difference. But when someone asks how to translate that, right away, I can do that. Do you have any suggestion how to cope with that?
Okay.
Thank you.
Maybe our MC, can you repeat the question because I cannot really hear you. I'm so sorry.
Okay.
It's
Would you write down on chat, Miss Mr. Movie?
Uh,
what I heard is like you have a lot of words, but you don't know
Yeah.
how to place them. So
yeah,
when someone,
I can do it like fast enough, to respond immediately how to translate it.
oh,
So,
okay, how to translate it immediately.
yeah, yes,
Yeah.
Okay,
that's the
It's
case.
gonna be like that, Miss Nisa.
okay. So I get the question correctly. So you're trying to, how do you place the words that you already know and how to use them in your sentences? Is that the question? Am I right?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. So I think uh, compare the sentences is one of the ways that you can use, like the one that I do in yourdictionary.com. Find sentences that using that word and then try to relate them to your personal experience. For example, like the word regulate. When do I use that word? If you see the sentences, then you will find, okay, maybe I have an experience in my life that has that context, and then you can try to write it down or say it by yourself using that word. I think it is important for you to constantly thinking about experience that is related to certain word so you can really remember how to use them because it's your personal experience. And practice is important, but maybe we don't really have time to practice with a friend. So one of the things that my student does is they record themselves talking using the new word that they know. For example, I have a student who read a book and then she found the word boastful and she doesn't know what it means. And then she asked her parents and then her parents said, "Oh, itu artinya sombong." But when does she use that word? And then she tries to make different kind of words. She records it because she doesn't really know how to use Google or stuff. She's in second grade. And then she asked me, which one do you think is the correct sentence for boastful? And then we searched together online. See, this is the sentence that they use when they're using the word boastful. And then you can find the context. Is there any experience that you can relate to this word? And then she tries to remember it and then she tries to make sentences. And now she's almost automatically using the word in her sentences. Maybe that's one of the simple things that we can do by ourselves. I hope that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you, Anniza.
Okay. Does she answer? Does she answer, Mr. Mufi?
Yes, Kak Narendra. It did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Miss Niza. Okay. Ri Cynthia Aska, go ahead.
Hi, Miss Niza. How are you?
Hello, I'm fine, thank you.
Just want to ask. So, sometimes when we have beginners learning in English, they tend to drop their excitement because they think that English is quite hard, many vocabularies to learn and to keep in their mind. Any I don't know, not the short way, but any tips on how to make it delicious all the way so they don't drop down when they're learning English?
Yeah,
Thank you.
one of the most common problem about that gap is when you feel embarrassed when you're making a mistake. That is one of the most often problem that I found when I'm talking English with fellow teachers. It's different with younger students because they are more confident. But when you are a grown up, you have that, I don't know, maybe you feel embarrassed and stuff. So what I did is try to be as respectful as I can. So let's make as many mistakes as we can. So that's how I open my coaching class. Let's make mistakes. Try to and then you can make write your own sentences, and then you can correct yourself, and it's okay. Everybody's making mistakes. So when I think, as if you're teaching, if you're coaching, you can start with you. Be funny, be silly, or show your mistakes, and then they will feel more comfortable in showing their mistakes, because that's the main problem. Because you know what, when I was in school, one of the things that stops me from speaking English is when other are laughing at you and they make fun of you, and those are the things that stays in our memory, and it bothers our confidence when we are trying to speak. So one of the first step to learn to practice to coach English is to let them speak and do not correct them at all until they are comfortable enough, until they're confident enough. And then you can uh, go through those things that you need to improve with them together. So I think one of the most important thing is to give space, to give time, to allow them to feel comfortable, to allow them to feel confident. I hope that helps.
That's beautiful. Thank you, Ms. Niza.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. Already to 10:18. We are gonna dismiss this class for now. So thank you so much, Miss Niza. But wait, before
Okay.
we leave this room, we have photo session. So please turn on your video. Revina, please.
Okay. By the way, Miss Niza, do you wanna share more slides?
Okay, I have one more thing actually. This
Okay.
is just a reflection.
Okay.
I believe that when we are sharing something, you're not the only one who's learning, but the one who's sharing is also learning. And it is
Sure.
important for you to also know your inputs, your comments. I will share a link of Padlet in the chat. This is Padlet. This is the link. Padlet is like this. It's like a post, an online post-it, where you can post your comments and anything. Okay. So when you go to this page, you will see a plus sign, the pink one on the bottom right. Click it, and then you can write your feedback for this session. You can give me inputs. You can tell me anything. You can say, or what have you learned from this? Is there anything useful, or how can I improve if next time I have the opportunity to share things with other people? It's not mandatory if you want to, please, but if you don't want to, and it's okay. So you just have to click the plus sign on the bottom right of the page. That's it, I think. Thank you very much
Yeah, thank
for
you so much,
today's
Nisa.
session. I hope it's useful, and it is very nice to be here, and I hope everybody's staying safe and healthy and keep learning no matter what.
Thank you. You too, Miss Niza.
Thank you, Miss
Thank you,
Niza,
Miss
for
Niza.
sharing.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and now I will we will take picture virtually
Okay.
by screenshot. So please turn on your camera, guys. Okay. Okay. I will take screenshot. So please smile. Okay, I will count. 3, 2, 1. Smile. Okay. One more. 3, 2, 1. Smile. Okay. Thank you
Okay.
guys
Thank
for
you.
joining our
Thank you very
session.
much.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank you.
everybody.